themselves useful. She's a good soul, you know. She misses your father too. Only the other day, right out of the blue, she said we were lucky to have the Colonel as long as we did, madam. So well respected by everyone who knew him. Not a bad word said about him. Wasn't that kind of her, dear? I know. I've had so many letters saying similar things. I think there are some here in the post today. Now, don't worry about me, sweetheart. I'll be fine. I see your Aunt Louise most days when we walk the dogs. So give the babies a big hug from me, and I'll see you at the weekend. Fine. Bye. Oh, Louise? I'm fine. Yes, fine. Are we meeting later today? Oh, on the beach as usual. Oh, fine. See you later. Bye.
Dear Eddie, I'm so worried. What has happened? The usual date has come and gone with no communication from you whatsoever. This is the very first time you have ever let me down. Oh dear, you see how I have come to rely on your sweet, kind nature. I would never have written. You know I have kept my word, but the matter is urgent. It's about little Teddy. I have learned there's a new surgeon in America who has perfected a special operation, an operation which could mean the boy may be able to walk. I know you will understand what this means to the child, and I know it would make you happy to realize he could at last run and play and have fun like the other children.
You know I have always paid up on the insurance you took out for us. As you appreciated, Teddy's condition involved me in so much expense. But this new operation, while it sounds like some kind of miracle, will cost far more than the policy will cover. Teddy is thrilled and not at all scared. But you know, he is a brave kid. How could he not be with such a father? With such a father? How could he not be with such a father?
There must be some kind of mistake, because I know you would never want us to be in this situation. You know how grateful I have always been about your attitude towards things, and you know I wouldn't be writing to you now if the matter wasn't so urgent and so very important to little Teddy at this moment. As always, Mary McCarthy.
As always, Mary McCarthy. Oh my God! Oh my God! It's not possible. It can't be possible. Oh my God! Louise, Louise, something terrible has happened. I have a letter here addressed to Edward. It's from a woman. She obviously doesn't know he's dead. She's got a child, Louise. She's got Edward's child. She's got a little boy. It's Edward's son. Oh, it's obvious. He's been supporting them. Why else? I know I find it impossible to believe. They must have been lovers. Oh, I don't know where or when. I never had the slightest suspicion. I always trusted him implicitly. Now listen to me, Louise. No one must ever find out about this. Ever. No one from his regiment. And particularly not the girls. They all believed in him, Louise. I couldn't bear it if they found out. Now promise me you won't say a word. Oh, thank you. I have to go now. I'll speak to you later, but don't expect me on the beach. Dear Miss McCarthy, your letter addressed to Colonel Grant-Poole has come into my hands.
This has occurred because the colonel, my husband, died a month ago, and as his widow, all correspondence has been directed to me. You obviously have not been informed of his death.
I am sorry for the necessity of writing to you with this unexpected news. May I say, I hope you will keep this matter completely confidential, as I myself intend to do.
I hope you will keep this matter completely confidential, as I myself intend to do. Felicity Grant-Poole.
No, it's all right, Mrs. Driver. We're fine here in the garden. Don't worry about a second glass. I'd sooner you got down to the village right away. We're fine here in the garden. There's no need to rush back.
I'm sorry if this is an inconvenient time.
How dare you come here? How dare you?
But you showed me in, so I
My housekeeper was standing there. What else was I supposed to do? I certainly wasn't going to allow a seat in front of her.
Oh, I don't intend to make a scene.
You certainly won't. I would be grateful if you would leave my house at once.
I'm so sorry.
How you had the nerve to turn up on my doorstep.
But you don't understand. When I got your letter,
I wrote you out of simple courtesy. It was not an invitation to visit.
I so did appreciate that letter.
It was difficult enough to rise on all conscience.
It must have been. I understand.
You don't understand a bit. You have no idea.
Mrs. Poole, Mrs. Grant-Poole, the last thing I wanted to do was distress you.
Oh, that's rich.
Oh, I think I've made a mistake in coming. Perhaps I shouldn't have come at all. But I so wanted to put some things right.
I doubt very much whether that's possible.
Please let me stay a few moments. I had to get up all my courage to knock on your door. I walked up and down the street. I walked up and down the beach, and I even turned and headed back for the station. And then I realized that what I had to do was so very important. But I'll go right now if you insist. I know what you must be feeling.
I can't imagine that you do.
please do hear me out. I really need to explain the circumstances, the situation.
I think those are fairly obvious.
It was such a brief relationship, hardly a relationship at all.
Oh, is that supposed to make me feel better?
What I mean to say is, it wasn't important.
Not to you, perhaps. But I knew my husband. He would never have taken any relationship like you.
Well, I suppose I'd like to think I meant a little something to him, but it was truly so fleeting.
So what about your child?
If that terrible mistake hadn't happened, well, then Ed, the colonel, would have made no further contact. It was over. There were never any deep feelings.
So when did this happen? Where did this happen?
Please, I don't want to go into any details. That will make it far more important than it was.
I'd still like to know.
So you can brood on it? No, I'll never tell you any more.
No, you're right. I don't want to know. I just want the whole thing to disappear.
You would never have mattered.
To me, it would.
You would never have known. Your husband would have pushed it to the back of his mind, forgotten it completely. No man is entirely perfect.
So it seems.
Please don't be bitter. Don't you see? That's why I came here, to try to stop you from blowing it all out of proportion.
I thought my marriage was so good.
Oh, I'm so sorry to bring this on you. Why did I let everything be ruined by my thoughtless letter? Oh, I had given my word.
He pledged you to secrecy, to deceit.
It was for the best.
It was dishonest. I can't recognize Edward in all of this. I can't see it in his character. And I thought I knew him through and through.
Can't you allow him the littlest flaw?
Little? How long did this affair go on?
It was not an affair. It was one night, an unguarded moment.
Oh, please.
The whole thing would have been unimportant if little Teddy hadn't been born.
How do you know he was Edward's?
There was no doubt.
I'm sorry. That was insulting.
Yes, it was. I understand what you're going through. I want you to try to understand what I was going through. The panic, the fear. It's true, I could have coped with a baby with help from my family and some good friends, but when it transpired, when it came to life, that little Teddy, I'm sorry. Thank you. Do you have children?
I'm certainly not going to discuss my children. They'll never know anything about this, ever.
No, of course not. What I meant to mean was if you were a mother of strong, healthy children.
Thank God they are. And so are my grandchildren. And I hope they never hear a word about this. They adore their grandfather.
I would never have contacted the colonel, believe me. But when it became evident, when it came to light that my boy was going to need my full-time nursing care, and there were a great many expenses, well, one day when I was at my lowest, I broke down and I wrote to him. I didn't even know if it would reach him, but somehow it did.
So what were you hoping for?
I don't know. Not to see him, I swear. Not to complicate his life. I just needed a little bit of help, and I suppose I knew that Edward wouldn't refuse it.
That he would always do this decent thing? Yes, that sounds like him. If nothing else does.
So he, well...
It's clear he made you an allowance.
Yes, for the boy. It made all the difference in our lives. I was very careful. I've even managed to save a little bit of it. Everything I spent was in order to make little Teddy's life a better one. And then this month it didn't arrive.
No, of course not.
And it was was ironic because I had just learned about this surgeon in America. A friend of mine had cut an article out of the newspaper and sent it to me. I couldn't believe it, that there was a possibility that little Teddy would be able to live a normal life, to go to school. I'd be able to work again, the thought of it. And then Ed's check didn't arrive, and I didn't understand it. I didn't know what to do. You must see. I wrote to him in desperation. I knew if he realized that the money had gone astray, he would deal with it at once. And, well, of course now I know why.
I suppose I understand, but I've never been in your situation.
That's kind of you. I know the Colonel's support was more than I deserved, but he did it for the sake of the child, who was just an innocent victim. He's really a good little boy.
Where does he think his father is?
He's always thought his father's dead.
Yes, well...
I promise you, Mrs. Grant-Poole, I will never contact you again, and I will never mention this to anyone. The last thing I would want is for Ed's reputation to suffer in any way. He was a good, kind, thoughtful man of great integrity.
He was.
I'm going to go now.
I think you'd better, before my housekeeper comes back. I could never allow her to get a hint of all this. She worshipped the Colonel. Everyone who ever knew him did, and I have no intention of allowing anyone ever to think the less of him.
No, of course. I'll never say a word. Do you believe me?
I hope I can.
And I hope you can forgive me for coming to see you like this. I meant it for the best.
So what will happen to the child?
We'll go on. We'll manage. It was always Ed who insisted. It was always Ed who did everything in order to make little Teddy's life a better one.
I can imagine that. He was very fond of children. How can he have felt at the thought of a child being crippled for life?
Well, I'm going to go.
No, wait here a minute.
Oh, of course, I'll wait while you check that the coast is clear.
I think I know what my husband would have liked me to do.
Oh, please.
No, I'm as sure as if you were here to tell me. I'm as sure as if he were looking at me with his clear, honest eyes and speaking to me in his deep, calm voice. Mary McCarthy, right? I know the cost of medical treatment in the States.
But such a sum!
I'm lucky enough to have money. Take it.
How can I ever thank you? How can little Teddy ever thank you?
I think you'd better go now. I think I heard someone. Please leave by the garden gate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Miss McCarthy. Miss McCarthy, you've forgotten your newspaper. Robert Peregrine Walsingham, age 70, died suddenly at the Priory, Little Diddington, Berkshire. Leaves a widow and one son. Now, why has she circled his name? Robert Peregrine Walsingham. Now, why has she marked him down?
Berkshire, leaves a widow and one son. Looks promising. Dear Robert, I am so worried. What has happened? The usual time has come and gone with no communication from you whatsoever. This is the very first time you have ever let me down. You know I never would have written, but the matter is urgent. It's about little Bobby. He's been having many more of those fits? No, attacks. He's been having many more of those attacks. You know I've never written, but I feel sure the money must have gone astray. Please write as soon as possible. As always, Marlene Melvin.